So at a certain age, you get injuries from sleeping weird. Good morning. This week I got in my order of bulbs from Brex, Holland, from the old country. I was so excited, and this is the time of year to put them in the ground so they'll be ready for spring. And also, I'm gonna show you how I harvest seed from the coneflowers. It's an action-packed episode. I'm working on my second cup. Let's do this. Hey, so it's really windy and I can see my tripod is doing a little of this. So I got a mix of tulips from Brex and a couple of different packs of alliums. Every year I say, oh, I forgot to get alliums. Not this year, but I did forget to put some in my garden. I put all of them in the front yard, which is okay, because they will eventually multiply and I can put them wherever I want. But I got alliums. I got a lot of alliums. Alliums. And then some hyacinths as well. They didn't come from Brex, they came from Walmart. Well, where we're putting the cottage garden in, just down in front of our front steps, it's not as terrible hard packed clay as where I put the maple tree last week. This is a little bit loamy, but a lot of clay still, and some rock, but nothing super duper hard. So I want to show you what I did for that. You know, if you'll look back, you'll see I laid this vinyl out to try to kill the grass off. And so the grass was pretty defeated, but I went ahead and I scraped the top inch of the soil out and tried to get as much of the roots of the grass and weeds that I could. Laid them on a board over to the side, and then I started to dig. And for both the allium and the tulips, I need to go down 6 inches. Now, this is something they don't always tell you. When they say 6 inches, they mean where the pointy end of the bulb, where it starts to round off, where it starts to have shoulders. It's from that point to the surface of the ground. That's where you count your inches, okay? So what I did though was I went 7, 8 feet down, Lord. I went 7 or 8 inches down. I do trust that this part of the yard is going to drain a little better. The bulbs do not want to sit in wetness or they'll rot. It needs to be well drained. So first of all, it's on a slope so that the water is going to keep running away, but also it will drain a little bit. And you'll see later what I did was I filled back in the bottom with some of the rock that came out. I sifted through the dirt to get all the vegetation out, and then what rocks I came up with, I then put back in on the bottom, so that's refilling an inch or two there at the bottom with rocks, so that one, underneath the bulbs will kind of be a little looser and drainier, and then the rest of the dirt will be soft and easy to dig, because I'll probably sow seeds on top of all of those bulbs. So yeah, I did it half at a time. I did the front half, planted it in, did the second half. Yeah. So what I ended up doing was the bottom inch or two I loosened up for the roots and put rocks so it will be drainy underneath the bulbs. Then put dirt on top of the bulbs. The hyacinth only needed like 4 or 5 inches, so I didn't fill it to the surface yet. I left that little bit, put the hyacinth that midway range, filled it in the rest of the way, but did not put that top inch I took off back on. I kept the grass and root inch, and I'm going to compost it, but I replaced that top inch with some new mulch. So all of our measurements should still be right, because a lot of times with bulbs where you go wrong and why they don't produce is because they're not sitting at the right level. So anyway, fingers crossed. That was a lot of work for it to be explained that quickly. And then we moved on to, to the coneflowers. These are really cool coneflowers. I don't know if I can find some footage from back in the day. I mean, this summer. But they were a really nice red color and then also a white. So I'd collected about half of the seeds off of those heads. At this point in the fall, it's late enough that they're dried up and crispy. Like a lot of people say, oh, squeeze them, and if they're crunchy, they're ready. And if they pull off easy, and that's true. But I mean, at this point, when you can see part of the seed head eroding, like some of it's already loosened and left all on its own, well, you know the rest of the head's ready. So they are spiky though, so if they're holding on very tight, it'll poke you. Just about all the heads gave me no resistance. You could either pluck the whole head or pull the seeds off of the head. That is the little part in the middle of that daisy-like flower, you know, the little spiky center. That's where the seeds are in the echinacea coneflowers. So I'm saving those. Gosh, it would be great to have a bunch of those. You know, there are some plants like that you spend money on, but then, you know, they will repay you big time later on down the road. I'm hoping that for the tulips, well, and for the alliums, all of the bulbs I put out, in 2 or 3 years, they will need divided again, and then I'll have them everywhere, hopefully. The same with the echinacea. I bought 3 plants, but I expect to have a ton. I'm trying in the front of the house to complement the gray and white house with, and I've got a red screen door. I'm trying to complement that with a white and red kind of scheme in the plantings just in front of the house. And then, you know, that cottage garden path from the driveway to the front steps is just gonna be a higgledy-piggledy mess. That's the way I like it. That's it's a good thing about cottage garden. You don't have to stick to the rules too much. There are no rules, just a mess. Mix the vegetables and the flowers and tall bushes and just everything, whatever makes you happy. Still, it's light jacket weather. Today's light jacket. Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on those bulbs, and we'll see what those coneflower seeds do in the spring. If you want to put bulbs in, this is the time. It's almost too late. Get on it. Anyway, we did it. It's not perfect, but it's done. I hope this wind wasn't too crazy so that you could hear what I had to say. Otherwise, I've wasted a lot of time. Thanks for coming. See you next time. Life's what you make it. Let's get our hands dirty.